Okay. Today, I want to talk about white boy Crips, white men. And I have some pictures of some white Crips that I ran across. This particular guy right here, his name is Snoop. He's a tattoo artist. I met him in Victorville 2. I heard he'd been in the few prisons, but I met him in Victorville 2. He was doing tattoo artists. He was doing tattoos, and they called him Snoop. I think he's out of Portland, but I think he's out the land too, which is LA. I think he claimed IBC. But that was one of the white Crips that I met in my time in the federal prison. I met a white Crip one time in 4800. I think he was from Compton. I met a Mexican guy that was a Crip. His name was Chino. He was one of the first Mexican guys that I knew that came to 4800 back in the days that was representing 8-9 East Coast. Now, I also ran into an Indian Crip named Little Man. This is Little Man right here. Little Man is out of Arizona. He was one of the most downest Indian Crips that I ever met. Well, there was another big dude, a dude named Watt. He was to pitch baseball. He used to always get mad at me, say, "Fish, you don't know how to referee." But anyway, Big Watt was a Crip too, and Little Man was a Crip that I met in the Victorville 1. And Little Man was an Indian, and he was a real soldier for the Crips. And I know Watt wasn't on count, but I know that Little Man was. And this is why he on the picture with me, Mook, Devil, and all of us is on the picture. Now, and I have another white boy Crip that he was in the cell with Rainbow, and he also is from Seattle or either Portland or Utah. His name is Looney. I met Looney in Victorville 1. He came to the compound and he was on Crip time. And this is one of the guys that I know that was a white Crip. And also, it was a guy in my neighborhood named Rick. Rick was a white boy Crip that went to play baseball with me in Bethune Park Pee Wee League. He was a left-handed guy that pitched real good. And Rich actually became known as a good fighter that was a left hand, but he was a white boy, and he was real dangerous. He had a sister named Corky, that's from 5'9". They ended up marrying, she ended up marrying, I think, Mug's sister. But they lived over there in 5'9", close to where Big Lala lived at. And I had an opportunity to play baseball with him, and I had an opportunity to see his sister. But these white guys that I know that I see, that I know Richard was one of the most talented white boys in fighting that I know, because he used to pitch, so he had a vicious left hand, and he always, that I knew, he was from 5'9". Now, I have actually seen a white boy that actually was going with Venus and Serena's sister that I didn't know him, but I had seen the news where I think she was going with a white guy, and somebody was trying to shoot the white guy and ended up shooting Venus and Serena's sister and killed her. R.I.P. to Serena's sister. But I noticed that there was a white guy that was involved with that. I don't know him, but I had heard that he was a white guy. Now, and that was a big thing back in the days, because in the state, I never been to the state, but I know it was a few guys that I seen that was from white guys that was from L.A. I think it was another one from the west side, but I actually never met him, but I did hear about it. It was a white boy from the west side. I think his name was Whitey, and he was from over there on the west side, and I will talk about him a little later. But now, the boy Looney that I met, he was actually Rainbow Selly, and one day I asked him, I said, "Hey man, I noticed that you don't really say the N-word that much." Well, he said, "You know, Fish, man, I don't want to have a double-edged sword. I'm already white, and the N-word is kind of like off limits sometime in certain places because it's a real touchy subject." And I respected that. But the thing about Rick is, when Rick actually grew up around Bethune Park, he claimed the 5'9s, and I heard he had went to the penitentiary, and some guys tried to test his cripping, and I don't think, and I know that I heard that, Rick take that stuff real serious. White boy Rick, that's what we used to call him. And I used to always know Rick from hanging with Big Vince and Sherry and a lot of the 5'9s, T Tiger, which was a major guy in the 5'9s, Kato, T-Dog, T-Bone, Ray Rat, all of those guys over there in the 5'9s, Loft, and all those guys. And they really kind of like respected Rick because Rick came up with us as a young guy. And I know that for a fact that Rick put in the work to even be associated with the 5'9s, and he was one of the major guys in 5'9s. But they also had T. But this is due to the white guys that was actually banging. You know what I'm saying? This guy is one of the guys that I know that was from the east side, over there close to Compton Avenue, and I know that he's a fighter. Now, I never seen Rick lose a fight, and I know he had a cold punch because of his left-handedness. And I also was reading about a white guy that was from 9-0. His name, I forgot his name. I think they called him Milk or something like that. But I seen an article where actually he went to trial and he was found not guilty. I'm not saying that white Crips or white guys get better treatment in the prison system, but I know he went to trial and it was supposed to be from a white prominent family, and I know that he actually won the case. But I also ran into some white guys that was from D.C. I don't know, they wasn't banging or not, but it's real narrow area to see white guys that's from D.C. I met one guy that I knew that was in Atwater, and I know that a lot of white guys didn't like him, but he was kind of like on his own, and then the other guys, the DC dudes, like, that white boy, right? Mario told me that the white guy was from DC, and Mario used to talk to him, and Mario used to say, hey man, we don't really see too many white boys that's from DC, and then Mario would kind of like respect, because me and Mario was in the same unit, and Mario used to always tell me, hey, Fish, that white boy right there from DC. And I also met some white boys that was in the cars with the white guys, and the white guys didn't like them hanging around blacks. But I have noticed a lot of white boys from Seattle and Portland, they would always come to me and say, hey Fish, man, I don't really like hanging with these California white boys, but at the same time, hey man, I got black kids. I used to be like, what? You got black kids? Yeah, a lot of them told me that, and a lot of them that I had talked to, and I actually wrote when I left there. They always say they had black kids, and you'd be surprised how many white boys that was on white time, but they love blacks and they like blacks, and they always tell me that they actually have black kids. And some of them even showed me some pictures of their black kids, and I was like, is that a thing they do in Portland and Seattle? But sometimes, man, you have white guys, they have be under a certain thing, and they would just tell you, because they don't supposed to drink or smoke with the blacks. But I noticed how some of them would do all that, and then I think they got into it about not being able to hang with the blacks. That was in Lime Park, and that was in Atwater. And while we talking about the white Crips, this is a real touchy thing, because a lot of the white guys that I met, another white guy, he was from GD, but he don't like people saying that he is actually white. And I forgot his name, but he would act kind of crazy. Because one day I asked Ricky D, I said, hey man, they do right there, man, he kind of white. And there was another one out there, he always say, hey man, please don't say that around, because he get mad. I was like, I didn't want to make it mad, but while I'm talking about the white Crips, I did have 3 guys: Snoop, Looney, and the Indian guy, which is Little Man.